Well, hello there, everyone. I am excited to be here, and you're going to see that my talk is a lot different than the ones before me. I am here today representing a team of people who in the National Toxicology Program who work together to manage emerging contaminants and issues of concern type projects. Chad Blystone and Stephanie Smith-Rowe are in our systems tox branch. I am in the mechanistic toxicology branch, and Gloria Yankee and Ruth Lunn have worked together in the report on carcinogens, and Esra Mutlu is a chemist in our Office of Program Operations. As you may know, but I'm going to go over it anyhow, the National Toxicology Program, or the division of the National Toxicology Program that's centered in NIEHS, has been well known in the past for generating and communicating trusted scientific information to support decision-making on environmental hazards of public interest. We also develop new strategies, innovative tools, and one of the things that we're trying to do a little bit more now, especially within the program I'm going to be talking about, is collaborate with public stakeholders and global partners to tackle and address public health issues such as the ones we've been talking about for the last 2 days. We've recently undergone a reorganization in the DNTP, and we now are working under 4 research programs. The Health Effects Innovation Program covers things like cardiovascular disease, developmental neurotox, and cancer. The exposure-based research programs work on consumer products, safe and sustainable, inhalation tox, and mixtures. And then we have a capabilities program that is building both cyber infrastructure and methods in the lab for things that we can't do currently or need to do better. And then the responsive research program, in which the ECIC, or Emerging Contaminants and Issues of Concern program, is responsive research programs. That also contains safe and sustainable alternatives. And you know, really what we're aiming to work on are contaminants that have insufficient toxicological data, and we may know something about them, but they're recently have come back into the main picture for a different reason than they've been studied previously. We may have issues of concern where there's emergent public health issues, but we don't know what the environmental contaminant is driving it, and we also work on those types of projects. But we also deal with emergencies, things that some of you have talked about already, and those would have a rapid and prioritized response within our program. So the reason that we really exist is because emerging issues and emergencies keep coming at us, right? They're unexpected and they keep happening, and we need actionable data to protect public health. But you can't just shift gears on the fly and change in a different direction any given day. So we have to be able to rapidly mobilize the resources we have to be able to deal with these situations. And responsive programs need to have good communication. So that's one thing that we're trying to do this week, is make more people aware of this program and get input from you on what we could and should be prioritizing. So whether it's pollution, natural disasters, nanoplastics, wildfires, invisible contaminants in the water we drink, or excessive use of hand sanitizer, we have to have a coordinated and successful response. We have to have the capabilities and tools, and we have to be prepared both with the tools and in communication to be able to address these issues. And one of the things that really has to happen is we have to break down silos. We have to work together more instead of each individual agency or state working on them by themselves without communication with other states working on the same project. We have learned within the DNTP, we've learned lessons from some of our previous emergencies or emerging contaminant issues, such as Elk River spill, which was an emergency response, and the synthetic turf or crumb rubber complex mixture issue that came to us that needed a rapid evaluation. We have certainly got expertise and capabilities to address these types of problems. We have a diverse workforce with toxicologists, informaticists, statisticians, and lab-based tools. And then but today, we're really focusing on communication to develop strategies. What are the data gaps? I'm listening to each and every one of these presentations to gather information to take back to our group. So we have 3 objectives within our group. The first one was to devise a decision framework, how we would determine if a project actually fits within our program. I'm not going to talk about that today. One of the things we're doing right now is using horizon scanning to sort of proactively identify emerging contaminants and issues of concern, especially as they may pertain to marginalized populations, ethnic groups that may have environmental health disparities, etc. We also are formulating and applying strategic approaches to deal with emergencies and emerging contaminants, how we will address them in the future to reduce the time to respond. So in proactive identification of future issues, we're really looking at, in our horizon scanning efforts, we're really trying to make sure we understand what's constant, what changes, and what constantly changes. And this may involve a variety of different kinds of projects, but we have actually had a few projects come to us where we would be looking at exposome differences based on race. We're looking at mixture problems in water, the safety of water across the nation. And I've heard several talks about related to that project this week at this workshop. So as you can imagine, our team has to really be ready for almost anything. If you think of us as firefighters, you know, when the call comes into the station, we really have to first assess the situation. Does it need our response, or is the goat in the tree actually going to be able to get down by itself? We actually have to choose the kind of tools and capabilities that we'd use to respond to the problem. So we wouldn't want to take an ambulance to a 5-alarm fire when in fact we might need an airplane or a huge truck. We also have to develop our network so that because we can't do everything. We have to know who can do other things that we can't do, and keeping those colleagues and other agencies, keeping communication networks open with them is one way of making sure that we have the ability to respond appropriately. And then also, you know, by doing our homework, we wouldn't take the crowded interstate to a 5-alarm fire. We'd find a different way to get there, right? So if an emergency comes up, we'd have to find a way to address it if it fit into our purview. And like I said before, communication is really important for us. So to be able to develop prioritization for a project, we would listen to a lot of other people. Obviously, I just talked about, we have lessons learned. And we also, at NIEHS, have a disaster response, research response program, and as do other agencies. And we've been talking to them and trying to develop a plan of attack. If there were to be an emergency, what would we do? How would we approach it? And how would we do that quickly? We also listen to our stakeholders, such as the states, everyone on the workshop today. We have a board of scientific counselors who gives us advice. In fact, we just had our board meeting last Friday, and we received some really great advice and encouragement in the directions that we're moving. And then, of course, interagency teams and other programs are a valuable source of information and as colleagues and collaborators on certain projects. As you can imagine, we have a wide variety of types of projects within our portfolio. We study different types of contaminants and issues. In fact, microcystin is one of the projects that's in our portfolio. We have different types of responses. So a certain chemical, for example, boron, needed more information for developmental tox. It has multiple types of studies because of that. And the different types of studies are in different places of parts of completion. But we also have some real project specific issues, like we have project specific stakeholders, and then we have program specific stakeholders where we would, they would be our source of information for us. Some of the projects that are reporting or are completed are glyphosate, a widely used pesticide, as you can imagine. Sulfolane, it's a water contaminant near petroleum refineries. The synthetic turf and chrome rubber project, and the Elk River chemical spill. And we have several that are still in progress, some newer than others. Boron, which I just mentioned, is in multiple stages, as is the kidney disease of unknown origin, where we're really looking at people that have heat stress and young men who are developing kidney disease for unknown reasons. And through our recent discussions with the Interagency Working Group, the National Emerging Contaminants Research Initiative has also engaged our help to really address the issue of the safety of drinking water in the United States. And I've heard that there may be a request for information coming from that program in the near future. I'm hoping to hear more about that soon, but please look for that. And
3 minutes remaining.
Please respond. And with that, I just want to thank you for your attention, but really, I'd love to hear from you what you think some of the most important issues are that we should be teaming up on or working on. And with that, I'll take questions.
Great. We do have time for a couple of questions, Lee.
Here's a statement. Shameless plug here, but have you looked into collaborating with the Cooperative Extension System to help disseminate your findings? We have a national system of family and consumer science faculty and staff whose job it is to bring research to the community, ensuring research is applied to improve quality of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I believe there's a cooperative extension system in place in most states. North Carolina certainly has one. That's where we're centered. We certainly would be working with folks in that arena. So some of the things that we're working on are reaching out to like the North Carolina Environmental Justice Group, the Cape Fear River Watch, because we have major PFAS issues in our state in the Cape Fear River. And so we're definitely reaching out to more boots on the ground groups because we feel like there will be a different response from those groups as to what they think are most important than possibly other agencies that we're talking to. So we are definitely doing both. We are a new group, so we're a new program, and we will, I'll definitely, remember to put this on our list. And it's not all that shameless. So you should be saying that to people as often as you can.